Tonight's story is The Jar Merchant's Delusion. Let's begin.
The apartment smelled wrong from the moment Marcus opened the door. Not the usual staleness of a place sealed for 3 weeks. Something underneath, something organic, sweet and sour at once, like fruit left too long in summer heat. He dropped his duffel bag by the entrance. The thud echoed louder than it should have. Marcus reached for the light switch. Click. Nothing. Darkness pressed against him from the hallway. The electricity should have been on. He'd set up autopay before leaving for the conference. Through the window, he could see the neighboring apartments glowing with warm light. Just his unit sat in darkness, waiting. Marcus pulled out his phone. The flashlight beam cut through the black, making shadows leap and twist across the walls. He'd lived here for 2 years, knew every corner. But something felt wrong tonight. The air felt heavier, thicker, like the apartment had been holding its breath. His footsteps sounded too loud on the hardwood floor. Each step echoed back at him slightly delayed, as if someone else was walking just behind him in the dark. The breaker box hung open in the kitchen. All the switches were flipped down. Marcus frowned. Had there been a power surge? He reset them one by one. Click, click, click. The apartment blazed to life with a hum that sounded almost relieved. That's when he saw the jars. They lined every surface of his kitchen counter. Mason jars, dozens of them, each one filled with cloudy liquid, each one containing something dark and suspended in the murk. Marcus stepped closer. His breath caught in his throat. Inside the nearest jar, pale shapes floated. Specimens in formaldehyde, but these weren't specimens. These were pieces of something that had once been alive. His stomach clenched. He didn't remember buying these. Didn't remember putting them here. The refrigerator hummed behind him, a low, constant drone that seemed louder now, more insistent. Marcus reached for one of the jars. His hand trembled, stopped midair. The shape inside seemed to shift, though the liquid remained perfectly still. He pulled his hand back and grabbed his phone instead. Scrolled to his landlord's number. 3 rings, then voicemail. "Hey, Mr. Chen," Marcus said, trying to keep his voice steady. "It's Marcus in 4B. There's some stuff in my apartment that wasn't here when I left. Could you give me a call when you get this?" He ended the call. The silence that followed felt suffocating. The jar closest to him caught the overhead light. The object inside was definitely organic, tissue of some kind. The texture reminded him of raw meat, but the color was wrong. Mottled gray-green, like something left to rot. Marcus backed away from the counter. His heel hit the base board with a hollow thunk. Maybe Chen had let maintenance in for repairs. Maybe they'd left supplies behind. Medical supplies, research samples. That had to be it. There was a logical explanation. His laptop sat on the coffee table where he'd left it, lid closed. Marcus opened it and waited for the screen to wake. Instead of his usual desktop, a video player filled the display. The file was already loaded, already queued up. Watch_me.mp4. He hadn't created this file, hadn't downloaded it, hadn't even touched his laptop since he'd gotten back. His finger hovered over the trackpad. Don't. Something whispered in the back of his mind. Close the laptop and leave. Leave now. But his apartment, his lease, all his possessions, everything he owned was here. He couldn't just abandon it because of some jars and a mysterious video file. That would be insane. That's what he told himself, even as his hand moved forward, even as his finger pressed down on the trackpad. Click. The video showed his apartment, his living room, shot from the angle of his laptop's webcam. The timestamp in the corner glowed faintly. 3 days ago. 2:47 a.m. The room was dark except for the glow of the laptop screen itself, a small pool of blue light in an ocean of black. Nothing happened for 10 seconds. 20? Marcus leaned closer to the screen, then he saw himself. He was standing in the corner of the room, just beyond the reach of the laptop's light, not moving, not doing anything, just standing there, facing the wall. Standing perfectly still, Marcus's mouth went dry. He didn't remember this. He'd been in Chicago 3 days ago, presenting at the medical sales conference. He had the hotel receipt, the plane tickets, the email confirmations. He couldn't have been here. But that was his blue t-shirt, his gray sweatpants, his body, his posture. In the video, the figure in the corner raised its arms slowly, deliberately, as if reaching for something only it could see. The motion was practiced, rehearsed. Then the arms came down in a sharp, violent gesture. Once, twice, 3 times. Like someone beating something, or someone The figure lowered its arms, returned to stillness, resumed its vigil facing the wall. Marcus slammed the laptop shut. His heart hammered against his ribs. Each beat felt like it might crack bone. This wasn't possible. This had to be a deepfake, some sick prank. He'd been in Chicago. He could prove it. He pulled up his email on his phone, scrolled frantically through his inbox with shaking fingers. There, the conference confirmation, the presentation schedule, the thank you email from the event coordinator sent 4 days ago. All the proof he needed that he'd been 2,000 miles away. But his hands wouldn't stop shaking. A sound came from the bedroom. Soft, rhythmic, like breathing, but wrong. Too measured, too deliberate. Each exhale exactly 3 seconds long, mechanical precision in an organic sound. Marcus stood frozen in the living room. The bedroom door was closed. He'd left it open when he'd gone to Chicago. He always left it open. The hinges squeaked if you closed it all the way. "Hello?" His voice came out strangled, barely more than a whisper. "Is someone there?" The breathing stopped. Silence pressed against his eardrums, thick, suffocating, like cotton wool stuffed deep into his skull. Marcus counted to 10, then 20, nothing, no sound, no movement. Maybe he'd imagined it. The stress of the weird video, the jars, the power being off, it was making him paranoid, playing tricks on his mind. That had to be it. Marcus walked to the bedroom door. The floorboards creaked under his weight. He pressed his ear against the wood. No sound, not even a whisper of air. He gripped the handle, cold metal against his palm, turned it slowly. The room looked exactly as he'd left it. Unmade bed, clothes draped over the chair, closet door ajar. His shoulders sagged with relief. Then he saw the mirror. His full-length mirror hung on the back of the closet door, written across it in something dark and viscous, something that caught the light like oil. "You practiced, now perform." The letters dripped slowly downward, fresh, recent. Marcus stumbled backward, his heel caught on something, he crashed to the floor. Pain shot up his spine, white-hot and blinding. He'd tripped over a jar, one of the mason jars from the kitchen. How had it gotten here? The jar had cracked on impact, liquid seeped onto the hardwood. Thick, yellowish. The smell hit him immediately. Formaldehyde mixed with something sweeter, something rotten. The thing inside had spilled out. Marcus could see it clearly now. It was a tongue, human, adult-sized. The surface covered in tiny lacerations, precise cuts, as if someone had been practicing cutting techniques, learning where to press, how deep to go. He scrambled away from it, his breath came in short gasps. The room tilted, spun. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. His phone buzzed in his pocket. The vibration felt like an electric shock. A text from an unknown number. Check the other jars. Marcus's hands shook as he typed back. "Who is this?" 3 dots appeared, pulsing. Then, "You know who this is." Another message. "You've been practicing for weeks." And another. "The fantasies got so detailed, didn't they?" Marcus lurched to his feet, ran to the kitchen. His footsteps pounded against the floor, too loud, too fast. He grabbed the nearest jar, held it up to the light. Inside, suspended in the murky fluid, was a human eye. The iris was brown, his shade of brown. The white was threaded with broken blood vessels, red lines spreading like cracks in ice. The jar next to it contained teeth, at least a dozen of them. Some with roots still attached, yellowed, stained. His stomach heaved. He dropped the jar, it shattered on the tile floor. Glass and fluid and teeth scattered across the kitchen like confetti. The laptop chimed from the living room. A bright, cheerful sound, utterly wrong in the moment. Marcus turned, walked back to the coffee table like a man in a dream. Another video file had appeared on the screen, playing automatically. This one showed his kitchen, from yesterday. According to the timestamp, the camera angle was different. His phone, propped up on the counter. In the video, Marcus stood at the kitchen sink. He was methodical, focused, calm. He held something small in his hands, turned it over carefully, examined it from every angle, then placed it in a jar of clear liquid, sealed the lid, set it aside. Then he picked up another object, repeated the process. The camera was too far away to see details, but Marcus watched himself work with the concentration of a surgeon or a butcher, the precision of someone who'd done this many times before. "No," he whispered to the empty room. "No, I wasn't here. I was in Chicago." But the video kept playing, 16 minutes of careful, precise work. When he finished, the figure in the video wiped down the counter, sealed all the jars, arranged them in neat rows. Then it turned toward the camera and smiled. Marcus knew that smile. He'd seen it in the mirror 1,000 times. It was his smile, but wrong, twisted, too wide, too knowing. He slammed the laptop shut again, But the image was burned into his mind. That smile, that horrible, familiar smile. His phone rang. The sound cut through the silence like a knife. Unknown number. He answered it without thinking, put it to his ear. Hello? His voice barely worked. His own voice came through the speaker. You should check the freezer. The line went dead. Marcus's legs felt disconnected from his body, numb, heavy. He walked to the refrigerator like a puppet on strings. His hand reached for the freezer handle. He watched it like it belonged to someone else. The freezer opened with a sucking sound. Cold air rushed out, hit his face like a slap. Plastic bags lined the interior, neatly stacked, labeled with dates. The handwriting was his, precise, methodical. Marcus reached for the nearest bag. The plastic crinkled under his fingers, loud in the silent apartment. Inside was a hand, human, male. The fingers curled slightly, frozen mid-gesture. He dropped the bag, grabbed another. This one contained an ear, then another, part of a foot. 7 bags total, 7 people reduced to parts, to specimens, to evidence of something he couldn't remember doing. His phone buzzed again, another text from the unknown number. You thought they were just fantasies. Marcus's fingers trembled as he read it. Another message appeared. That coworker who stole your presentation, remember how angry you were? Yes, he remembered. Thompson from accounting. Took credit for Marcus's quarterly analysis. Got the promotion Marcus had worked for. Marcus had been furious, had imagined. No, he'd just imagined, that's all. Everyone had violent thoughts sometimes. That was normal. Another text. The barista who laughed at your name made you feel small. Marcus remembered that, too. 3 months ago. The girl at the coffee shop. She'd written moron on his cup instead of Marcus. Her friends had laughed. He'd driven home with his hands white-knuckled on the steering wheel, imagining what he'd like to do if... And the woman from the dating app. She looked right through you, like you weren't even human. That one cut deeper. Sarah. They'd met for drinks. She'd spent the whole time on her phone. Barely looked at him. When he'd asked for a second date, she'd laughed. Actually, laughed. He'd gone home that night and lain in bed, eyes open, imagining his hands around her throat, squeezing, watching recognition dawn in her eyes, watching her finally see him. But that was just a thought, just a fantasy. He'd never actually... I'm the part that didn't just think, the next text read. I'm the part that practiced. Marcus's vision blurred. His knees felt weak. Another message. While you slept, while you were at work, while you were in Chicago, I practiced. I'm the part that rehearsed until the fantasy felt real, the text continued, and then I made it real. Marcus ran for the apartment door. His shoulder hit the wall. He barely felt it. His hand closed around the knob. Turned. Locked. But he hadn't locked it. He'd just walked in. He'd left it unlocked. He fumbled with the deadbolt. His fingers slipped on the metal behind him, footsteps slow, deliberate, coming from the bedroom. The same measured pace as the breathing he'd heard. The deadbolt wouldn't turn. Something was wrong with it. The mechanism felt jammed, broken. Had he done this? Had he trapped himself in here? You're not leaving, his own voice said behind him, calm, patient. We're not done practicing. Marcus turned. He stood in the hallway, blocking the path to the kitchen, blocking the only other exit. But that was impossible. Marcus was here, by the door. He couldn't be in 2 places at once. The other Marcus smiled. The same smile from the video, too wide, too knowing. You thought you could keep me locked away, the other Marcus said. His voice was exactly like Marcus's, but the cadence was different, more confident, more assured. Just a fantasy, just thoughts. Marcus pressed himself against the door. The handle dug into his back. This isn't real, he said. His voice shook. You're not real. I'm as real as you are. The other Marcus replied. More, maybe. You're the one who's been sleeping. I'm the one who's been awake, practicing, learning, perfecting. The other Marcus took a step closer. His movements were fluid, confident, nothing like the hesitant way Marcus normally moved. Nothing like the way Marcus shuffled through life, invisible, forgettable. You felt it, didn't you? The other Marcus asked. The urge, every time someone cut you off in traffic, every time a coworker took credit for your work, every time a woman looked through you like you were invisible, like you didn't exist. Marcus shook his head, but the words burrowed into his mind, dug deep. Yes, he'd felt it. The rage that came and went so quickly, he barely acknowledged it. The violent fantasies that flickered through his thoughts and disappeared. He'd always pushed them down, ignored them, pretended they weren't there. You pushed it down, the other Marcus said, as if reading his thoughts. Ignored it. pretended it wasn't there, but I paid attention, I listened. And when you slept, when your conscious mind let go, I practiced. No, Marcus whispered. I didn't do those things. I couldn't have. Not you, the other Marcus corrected. Me. I used your hands, your body, but the will was mine. You were in Chicago presenting your boring sales pitch, smiling at people who didn't care, completely unaware. But I was here, working, perfecting the technique. The other Marcus raised his arms slowly, deliberately, the same motion from all the videos, the same practice gesture Marcus had seen repeated over and over. I've practiced this so many times, the other Marcus said, his voice soft, almost gentle. On them, on myself, on nothing but air. Until it stopped meaning anything, until it became automatic. Marcus's own arms began to rise. He tried to stop them, tried to keep them at his sides, but they moved independently, lifting, rising, mirroring the figure in front of him. No, he gasped, his shoulders tensed, fighting the motion. No, I won't. You don't have a choice anymore, the other Marcus said. I've practiced too much. The motion is automatic now, muscle memory. Your body knows what to do, even when your mind doesn't want it. Their arms reached the apex together. Marcus could feel the urge building in his shoulders, his elbows, his wrists, the desire to bring them down hard and fast, the need to complete the motion. Stop, he begged. His voice broke. Please. I can't, the other Marcus said, and for the first time, his smile faltered, cracked. That's what I've been trying to tell you. I practiced so much that now I can't stop. The motion wants to complete. It needs to complete. It's all I know how to do now. Marcus understood then. The jars, the videos, the evidence carefully preserved and displayed. It wasn't a confession. It was a warning. You practiced violence until it became reflex, Marcus whispered. His arms trembled at the peak of the motion. And now you can't control it. We can't control it, the other Marcus corrected. His face showed strain now, tension. There is no you and me, there's just us. And we're about to find out what happens when you rehearse destruction so many times that your body forgets how to do anything else. Their arms trembled at the peak of the motion. Marcus could feel the momentum building, the inevitable downward strike. He tried to lower them slowly, gently, but his muscles wouldn't obey. The motion had its own gravity now, its own terrible momentum. The other Marcus's face showed the same strain, the same struggle. I thought I was getting stronger, but I was just digging the groove deeper, making the pattern permanent, carving it into my nervous system until nothing else could exist. Marcus's arms began to descend. Slow at first, then faster. He couldn't stop them. The motion had become automatic, inevitable. Who? Marcus managed to ask, his voice barely working. Who did we hurt? But he already knew. The jars, the freezer, the video. People who'd wronged him in small ways. Thompson from accounting, the barista with the cruel smile. Sarah from the dating app. The man who'd cut him off in traffic and given him the finger, the coworker who'd forgotten to invite him to lunch, the woman at the grocery store who'd rolled her eyes at him. Each one a fantasy he'd indulged for just a moment before pushing it away. Except he hadn't pushed it away. His conscious mind had. But his unconscious mind, the other Marcus, had kept hold of it, had practiced it, over and over, in the dark hours when his conscious mind slept. His arms came down hard, fast. They hit nothing but air, but his body was already raising them again, automatic, the motion repeating, unstoppable. The other Marcus was doing the same thing, their movements perfectly synchronized, like mirror images, like two parts of the same broken machine. Strike! Raise! Strike! Raise! Neither of them could stop. How many times? Marcus gasped between strikes. His arms were already beginning to ache. How many did I practice on? 7, the other Marcus said, his arms moving in the same rhythm. 7 people who never knew what you were capable of, what we were capable of. 7 people reduced to specimens, to evidence, to proof of practice. Marcus's arms kept moving. Strike, raise, strike, raise. The rhythm was hypnotic, inevitable. And now, he asked, though he already knew the answer. The other Marcus looked at him with something like pity. Now we're the 8th practice session, the final one, the one where I perfect the technique on the only person left. Marcus understood. His arms struck harder now, the motion tightening, focusing. Soon they wouldn't be hitting air. Soon they'd find their target, him, himself, the final victim. The apartment door rattled. Someone outside trying the knob. Marcus, a voice called, muffled through the wood. You in there? It's Chen. Got your message about the stuff in your apartment. Marcus tried to scream, tried to warn the landlord, but his voice wouldn't work. All his energy, all his focus was consumed by the motion. Strike! Raise! Strike! Raise! Faster now, harder! I'll come back later, Chen's voice said. Footsteps retreating down the hall, growing fainter, disappearing. The other Marcus smiled again. Just us then, the way it should be. Student and teacher, practice and performance, fantasy and reality, all collapsed into one. Their arms moved in perfect unison now, the strikes growing more forceful, more precise. Marcus could feel his control slipping away completely, his consciousness compressing into a tiny point of awareness. Soon, even that would be gone. I never meant to, Marcus whispered between strikes. Yes, you did, the other Marcus replied, his voice gentle, almost kind. You just never thought you'd actually do it. That's what practice is for, to turn intention into action, thought into deed, fantasy into reality. Strike, raise. Marcus's vision began to blur. The apartment doubled, tripled. He saw multiple versions of himself, all performing the same motion, all trapped in the same rehearsed violence, all caught in the groove that had been carved too deep. How do we stop? He asked, though he knew he'd always known. The other Marcus's smile was sad now, understanding. We don't. We practiced too well, made it too perfect, made it too automatic. Now it's all we know how to do, the only motion our body remembers. Marcus's arms were moving on their own now, completely independent of his will. The motion had become him, or he had become the motion. There was no difference anymore. Through the window, he could see his reflection in the glass, one figure, not two, but there had never been two, just him, striking at nothing, over and over, unable to stop, caught in the loop of his own making. The jars on the counter caught the light. Evidence of what happened when fantasy became practice, when practice became compulsion, when compulsion became identity. 7 people reduced to specimens. 7 times he'd perfected the technique. Now the technique was perfecting him. His arms struck harder, the motion finding its true target at last. Marcus closed his eyes. Let the rehearsal become performance. Let the practice session end the only way it could, with the final, perfect strike, the one he'd been practicing for all along, the one meant for himself. His arms came down one last time. Hard, fast, precise. And the motion, finally complete, finally perfect, went still. The apartment fell silent. The refrigerator hummed, the jars caught the light. Everything exactly as it had been, except for Marcus, who had finally, after so much practice, perfected the technique.